they've just got some familiarity. And I also, in future, want to make these things like podcast episodes. So in podcasts that I listen to the people who are there, like introducing themselves. So that's why.
Okay.
Kgosi, I think I was stopping you saying something there. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I was just asking if we do like cameras on, off, what are the vibes?
Please, if you can do camera on, it makes me it's less daunting for me to be speaking alone looking into the camera. So if you can, please, but it's not a force.
Okay.
I probably have one of the book club ones.
Any crazy things in the background?
Yeah, no.
Hi.
You can put up one of these AI ones that come with the platform.
I'm like an old lady. I'm even doing this on an iPad, and I'm so lost.
Excuse me today. I look scruffy. Yeah.
Show us the scruffiness.
I look like my situation, eh?
Oh, let's see what kind of place I want to be in.
I also use my iPad sometimes.
Yeah, so now it looks like I'm not looking in the camera. Hey. Okay, I don't know how this background thing. It's fine. Oh, there. Welcome to my crib, guys.
From next month I'll have a proper. I just need a few hours where I can just create them all for the movies that we select. Is Mbali there?
I am still here. I'm having camera issues again, but it's my laptop. There's a whole plugging thing that's not working. So sorry, guys.
All right, no problem. No problem at all. Yes, we're 2 or 3 gather, or 4 as we are. Thank you so much for me. I was going to cancel this session because I wasn't seeing people join the meeting. Okay, so this is the 4th meeting we're having for the Kgosi Film Circle, and basically we are a movie club and we discuss a movie every month based on what we've chosen. I am Adlahan, but you guys all call me Kgosi, and that's fine because I created the Kgosi Bookshelf, this community that we always engage on, and I'm in Johannesburg. So lovely to have you guys. I think Chifi and Rory saying it's your first time joining this session, right?
Yeah, boo.
Welcome. I'm happy to hear a male voice because when we're having book club, it's mostly all ladies. I think it's most because of the books that we've been reading. And so I'm happy to have a male presence on the call. Bali, I'll hand it over next to you.
Cool. Hi guys, Bali here from the Kgosi Book Club, but I like the idea of a film club, so I am here, and yeah, happy to be here for the 4th time. Well, I missed the last one partially, but yeah.
Awesome, Chifiwa.
Hi, it's my first time here, obviously. I think I'm definitely in love with the idea of a film club because with lifing, getting to a book has been quite challenging. So this definitely did appeal to me, and I'm excited to be here from Johannesburg also. So yeah, lovely being here.
How did you find out about this platform? Was it through TikTok or another platform?
Of course. My For You page. I was like, oh, this seems interesting. Engaging and talking to people rather than plants. So giving it a shot.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. And then Rorisang.
Hi guys, I'm Rorisang. I live in Pretoria. Yeah, I'm just excited to be here. I think in an age where we're using our brains less and less, I wanted to kind of be part of something that encourages me to think about things and unpack things. And I happen to love movies as well. So yeah, it just made sense.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, I think we're all in the same vicinity. So next, like spring somewhere,
Yes, we should do it in person.
an in-person screening, something. But I'll think about that and which way to go. Okay, so we normally have somebody different hosting each session. I prefer having somebody from the community hosting a session because then I can work in the background with like the social media things and, respond to comments and all of that because I stream on YouTube and I stream on TikTok. But for this session, because it's just four of us, I think let's have an open discussion around this film. Please feel free to chip in. Please don't be a wallflower. Add conversation. I started the meeting late, so we can end at 8:30 or 9, depending on how you guys are. I don't want to eat too much into a Sunday. It was my fault. So yeah, for Colored Girls, I actually watched the film today because life was lifing. And I thought this time I was thinking I have time because I watched this movie, but I realized that I watched this movie a long time ago. So I was like, there's two scenes that stick out to me, and I don't really know what happens in the rest of the movie. So I need to watch this movie. My general sense, I really enjoyed it. I don't know why people were not happy with this movie and giving it like low reviews. But for me, I think it was a stunning movie. It delivered on the message that it wanted to deliver. And I would give it an 8 out of 10. So to open this up, please share your thoughts around the movie and how you would rate it. And then when we close the discussion, we're going to give our revised rating. That's how we sometimes do it in book club. Chifiwa.
Okay. I definitely agree with you. I watched the movie quite some time. It's been a while since I've watched it, but I remember it vividly. Yeah, no, it makes me miss the time where Tyler Perry was still flowing in his creative juices before like he became so belligerent when it comes to having a writer's room and involving other people. But it really was, yeah. I'd give it a solid a nine, because a lot of themes do stand out and it's important and it's still very relevant in today's time. So no, I'd give it a 9.
What's Mbali?
Yeah, so I also watched it like a while ago, like years ago, and then actually went to watch the theater show a year ago, the Joburg Theater, probably like a year or so ago. And then I tried to watch the movie again, but then I couldn't get through the 2 hours because just like you, Atlekang, I was like, yeah, I was squeezing the 2 hours today. I want to have a fresh mind, but I couldn't. But I have a good recollection, and I think my rating is mostly influenced by the theater show also, because I think when I watched that, I was like, okay, this is a powerful storyline. This is good. So I'll go a 9 out of 10. And I also just don't understand. I think maybe people rewatching this with Tyler Perry in mind makes it a bit more difficult. And maybe the ratings have been changing throughout the years because this is like a 2010 movie. So I have a slight idea that maybe the Tyler Perry we know now is not the one that we would like to like. So maybe the ratings are just evolving as the years go.
Thank you, Mbali. I'm sorry you didn't get to re-watch. I hope you remember what
I
happened.
do. I remember the storyline very well.
Rorisang?
I first watched the movie. I was so young. I was maybe 17, 18. So I think I obviously knew what was happening and I was understanding and hearing, but I think, age and time and maturity just make things hit a little bit more. So I'd say then I would have probably given it maybe 5 or 4 even, just because I wasn't, and I understood what was going on, but I was like, you're okay, everyone is just going through it. Okay. Like now I'd say I'd give it an 8. I'd say an 8. I think all of the themes and the kind of the overall messaging of the movie is just still very relevant today. I think also very relevant to South Africa as well, in my opinion anyway. So yeah, 8.
Awesome. So I think for me, I think let's touch on themes first, right? I think for me, the one theme I think that this movie touched on was exploring the mother-daughter relationship. And why I think it stuck out to me is because the reason why that Kgosi bookshelf reached a lot of people is through a TikTok I made. And I started it by saying mother-daughter relationships. Let's talk about it. And this book was discussing the secret lives. This TikTok was discussing the secret lives of church ladies, and I was discussing a story in the book that TikTok blew up, and that had an impact on my account. And then, the book club started, and then following that, this film club started, and I was watching when I was watching the movie, and I was looking at the relationship between the character played by Whoopi Goldberg and Zoe Saldana and Emma Thompson. And I was like, this is actually such a universal theme, because this mother is struggling. She wants to mold her daughters to be a specific way, but the oldest cannot and is rebelling, and in that she's having so many different sexual men partners, and she has a strained relationship with her little sister because she feels like her little sister is protected. But then you discover that the mother and the daughter were victims of sexual abuse, and by the hands of one man. And what I was collecting is that the grandfather told the mother that, I'm gonna get you a white man so your babies are pretty. Yeah, I think for me that really stuck out to me in that movie, the way that it's not just a thing affected by Black African American women, but I think the mother-daughter relationship is something that is not talked about a lot and is not explored on a lot. So yeah, that's the thing that stuck out to me. Bali?
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I think the whole conversation around mother-daughter relationship is like it's complex because there's too many elements that I think they stem mainly from trauma that is never spoken about, and mothers bear the heavy load of not only being nurturers but having to, I think, to some extent forsake themselves for this new woman that they're supposed to bring into this world, and I don't know, prep them for womanhood and what it means to be a woman. But it's always from a point of, there's something that happened to you that you probably didn't heal through, but then it's because you're not going to speak about it. I'm only ever going to experience it without, the mother wound. Let's name it. So it is interesting that it is there. We know about it. We experience it firsthand or secondary or even tertiary. But for some reason, we can't get to the crux of what makes us this woman, because we've moved past generations now. You would think that we are the next generation of mothers. But I mean, I guess I'm too young to be a mother. I think I'm actually not, but but I would imagine, yeah, I would imagine how different would I raise my daughter without, I don't know, making trauma like a biological thing, like it's just transferred through birth, you know, things that I've went through. You just have to not only experience, but feel. Even though I might try to shield you from certain experiences, or might try to, you know, sometimes when parents try to shield us, it always feels like, but why are you doing that? You know, without reason, without explanation. And then we end up getting caught up in situations, and it's like, but this is why I was doing this. But yeah, I don't know. It's just getting complex and complicated, and the combination of the two makes it really, really hard to navigate. I actually, well, as we were speaking at the start of this, that I was just using my social break throughout today, and part of the conversation I was actually having is with my sisters, because yeah, we just, I'm a firstborn child, so we were figuring out the dynamics between them. There was something happening. And I realized so much of what I'm seeing in my sisters and myself is a mirror of my mom. And I was just thinking, oh, snap. She didn't intentionally tell us to be like this, but I can see it playing out in how we speak, in the language, in how we navigate conflict. Most of us don't know how to navigate conflict. You know, conflict resolution is something we learn for work and corporate, but then for everyday life and how to navigate it, it's like we can just give up on people. Like, you know what? I can cut you, I can cancel you, bye. You know, it's like I can love you from afar, but then at work we have to kind of try to find a way to navigate it because I don't know, it's the job that pays us, whatever. So I do find that the mother-daughter relationship is a bit complex because not only are the mothers not speaking, but maybe there isn't the language, or maybe in trying to be better mothers to themselves and for their kids, they create another layer or another channel of a different kind of trauma or motherhood. Yeah, and it feels like an endless cycle, but it can stop. Yeah, that's my take. But yeah, in general, to do with for colored girls, I think the movie portrayed the complexities of motherhood. I feel like just parenthood in general can feel like it's a streamlined thing. You know, like you have a child, you know, you try to do the best for them, but the layer of part of you that still has to exist in parallel to this other person that you have to bring up. I think that is just, it's something I never, like, I can't comprehend how that is meant to happen. Like, we're moving in parallel, but who's moving at a faster rate? This child who's being brought up, or me who's having to go faster as not only as like an individual, but now as a secondary, primary person to this other person. I don't know if I'm making sense, but yeah.
You are. Is there another theme that stuck out to you from this movie?
I guess the most obvious one is abuse, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The relationship with men that we have is, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to even tackle this one. I think the relationship that we have with our black brothers and our fathers is just, yeah, that one I don't even have a word for it to fully describe. Abuse has its own thing that hasn't been tapped into completely, especially in our country. I mean, I think we know about it because GBV is just so visible, so in our face. There's no ignoring it. But there's something to be studied about men and abuse. I think women are just victims of something that's happening there with the man. And I don't know what it is. But yeah, it's giving the boy child who's neglected. Go, Rory. Yeah.
I was actually going to say that on abuse, I do think about it a lot. Or I think more specifically about how men are raised in general. And I think there's just not there's not a lot of, I guess, attention put on them being like members of society in a way where you're kind of like pouring into other people. And that's, I guess, partly because a lot of the time in traditional, I guess, hetero relationship dynamics, men are out getting the money or doing man things, cutting down trees and going to war. So I guess they're not really focused on the, building a family, building a home, nurturing the home and nurturing people. And I guess also the kind of emotional intelligence that you get from doing that. One of the whoever the man who Michael Ealy played in the film, I don't remember his name, but like he was a veteran, so he had gone to war, come back. I imagine before he was already, just, I guess, a man being a man. And then you pile on top of that the trauma of being at war and, or being a soldier and all the things that come with that. Plus, the added pressure of not being able to like provide for your family in the way, a man should. Obviously, I'm not like saying that justifies the abuse, but I think then that could be where issues start, because you're angry, you are, frustrated by the fact that you can't get a job and you've dealt with all this trauma, and then you add alcohol into the mix. Like, there's just a lot of things that are going to happen, and I think then abuse just that is like the kind of environment where abuse is going to take place most of the time. Yeah.
Are there other themes that stuck to you or that came to life to you before we move on to the characters?
Yes. In regards to the mother-daughter relationship, I think it was a theme I found to be quite complex and quite inaccessible to me. And it made me very curious, because I feel like as a man, there's so many layers that you have to break through before you have like an educated opinion on that. You have to check your misogyny first. You have to check so many things. And as, a gent who was raised in a predominantly woman-led household, I felt like it was quite traumatizing to witness, because that's not the scope or the level of behavior I've had to experience or see, my sisters and my aunts portray towards their children. So it was quite a very, it was a theme I found to be quite confusing. And I'm still like, I can't bring myself to have an opinion on that before I understand it yet. And predominantly, I think the theme that stood out to me was around Janet, Joe rather, and her husband Carl. I know it has been like a theme that, like, if you check social media, has been the people have made it quite a theatrical thing, but DL culture, where I think I had never really understood the gravity behind DL culture up until you experience it through a woman who's in a relationship with a man like this, and how that in some way spills over to who she is and portrays herself to be professionally, and how that goes on and creates an environment for a woman who is going through a lot, but isn't exposed to a woman who has the capacity whatsoever to help her navigate that. And I think it sort of like shifted my view around our responsibility in certain environments, as much as one would like to believe like it's unrelated, or one is conflating the issues. But somewhere, somehow, in whatever circle we exist in, we have a very important role to play in ensuring that the world is a better place and we're better for the people who experience us, in order for them to be better for other people also. So that was a theme that stood out for me.
Sure.
Just on the DL culture thing, I think when the movie started, or in the first few scenes, there was a scene where this man was sitting with another man and there was a police close to them.
Mm.
I I feel like it ties into that storyline, but it wasn't really explained. Like that scene just seems so misplaced. Like it there and then nothing, nothing
Yeah.
explains that scene throughout the movie. Like why was it there?
Yeah, no, it genuinely also threw me off. But I think it touched on, certain unsaid cues that just make sense to the people within them. As a person, I feel like a person who maybe has been in a closet could touch onto that point, because I think it's easy to forget that in as much as we have a world that exists to us and makes sense to us, for people operating in a different level, they're also operating from a place where that kind of behavior and that kind of scene, like it sort of like makes sense, it clicks.
I don't know. I felt like that scene should have been explained more, because then he's like, you haven't been able to reach me for the past few days, and then it just sort of dissolves. So in my head, I'm thinking he was arrested and he didn't want the wife to know. But then it's not explored. Like I was just so confused about that.
Maybe they didn't want to waste footage. They already shot it. Like, it's just like, put it somewhere, put it at the beginning. Nobody's gonna remember.
I was so lost. Anyway, so this film, I think one of the strong points is that it has an ensemble cast of strong, well-known actresses. I don't know if it would have reached its level of success if it didn't have an all-star cast, right? And I think these women play roles of women who are broken and they've got so many problems that they need to navigate. I do feel that some of them, their stories weren't unpacked, but I mean, if you've got 8, 9 women in 2 hours, you cannot unpack their stories, right? So just like to know from you guys, what was your sense on the characters? Is there a specific character that you connected with, or is there a specific storyline that you connected with in the movie?
I would say for me, Whoopi's character really stood out to me. Especially then kind of knowing a little bit of her backstory, and how that has probably influenced who she is today, or today in the film. So she said that her father told her she's ugly, and her father also, violated her, and I think part of maybe her being in this, what seems like some religious kind of cult, is almost like she's trying to cleanse herself of herself and what makes her her, if that makes sense. At least that's what I got, because I mean, it must be, I don't even, like, I couldn't even wrap my head around like all the things she's been through, and now she's like having to be a mother, but she's also like, she's being a mother from this place of being so hurt and not even liking herself and her children, being the result of some very shady, what to me seemed like potential assault. Yo, great. Yo, like, I'm so sorry. I don't know. It just really got to me, and I think a lot of the time, I think in Black communities, especially, we kind of lean on religion sometimes to cope with the things we've dealt with, to kind of cleanse ourselves of shame. But unfortunately, in those environments, sometimes, I don't know, somehow they make you feel even more shame, even though you're going there to be healed. So I think I really, I I think I really, the character stood out to me, just because of that I was sensing that constant like inner conflict, and it's like fighting with yourself and this internalized racism almost. And then you're kind of seeing these daughters who I guess were meant to be better, or I don't know, more beautiful. And then that also kind of feeds into the whole mother-daughter relationship and the mother wound thing we were talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Whoopi's character.
Okay, I've got you. Chippy, what?
Yeah, no, I have to agree with Rory. I think it was, yeah, her character definitely stood out. Certain elements I could relate to also, you know, it's just, it feels like a very, it feels like a never-ending journey to self-discovery, and I think it's a character I felt like wasn't, it needed more airtime, you know, because what was the end? What was the end? Because I feel like with a character like that, there has to be resolution. You have to see the end product of that journey. It cannot be umgo, and it just be that, you know. There was a lot of depth there, and I feel like it's definitely a character I would have loved to see more of and understood and seen a conclusion with.
I think I disagree. I think, and let me tell you why I disagree. I think she got so much, that specific character got so much screen time that in my head, I don't know what more of the journey we could have seen. Because for somebody who's in a space like that, in a cult, I'll put it, because I don't think that was just like a normal church situation, right?
Mm.
And she's got daughters that are rebelling against her because of that, because they don't understand her, firstly, and because of they don't really agree with the doctrine of that specific cult. I don't think there was going to be any resolution between them. For me, I don't think there was going to be any change in their situation. It was always going to be strained. Yeah, that's from the character played by Whoopi. I don't know, and it's. I'm struggling to find the word. I want to say it's telling that you guys have picked up this character, because I don't think they were highlighted as they're more like a support character, right? Because even in the closing scene where they're all holding each other, she's not there. You know, that you guys that specific character is screaming out to you. I would have thought you would have said Kimberly Elise's character, because
Yeah, I'm about to go that obvious route.
They all stuck out. Hey, you know, it's
Yeah, I'm about to go that obvious route, because that scene, man, that scene when I don't know, like in my mind, I can recall when the first time I saw it, I was like, no, it's not gonna happen. Those kids are not gonna be dropped. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. And then it happens. And I watch it again. I watch it in theater, and it always feels like, no, man, this can't be happening, but it does happen. And I wrestle with the acceptance of something like that happening, you know. But it made me think mostly. So I like, that's the character I liked. It just made me think a lot about, I don't really want to call it enjoying, like, you know, when you stay in a situation that is toxic and you know, but you feel powerless. That powerlessness is so dilapidating. Like, it's, I don't know, you know, this is not healthy. I think most often than not, people get asked, but why didn't you leave? Why didn't you leave? And I think the state in which somebody finds themselves when they're going through that is completely, I don't know, like, I don't think they themselves can comprehend, why am I here? Even though they know I shouldn't be here or I shouldn't be staying. You know? And for me, after that scene, I was like, she's probably not gonna leave. Like, I don't know how you can leave after that. Like, I feel like uzoquleka, like you just stop dead, like it's over, it's finished. Because then I can imagine the self kind of the guilt, feeling guilty about how did I allow this to get to this point, even though it's not on you, it's definitely on this man, but you probably think there's a part that you played in this whole thing. But as Ukeli, just herself as an actor, she played that role like, yeah, I think she did amazing. I don't know if she was ever recognized for that, but yeah, I don't know. When I keep on watching this now that I'm keep on watching it, I think a lot about the state in which people are in when they're going through situations, regardless of what it is, abuse and whatever, and how maybe that feels like a little universe of its own where it's a bubble. You can see people, you can hear them, you know what you're in, but there's this level of powerlessness, and it almost feels like you have this pin to just pop the bubble, but you just can't get yourself to do it. And it only takes an extreme scenario like you seeing your kids drop dead by the hands of the man that you chose.
I think what you just said goes back to what Felicia Rashad's character said, guys, and I cannot believe we don't know these people's names. We're referring to actresses, these roles, right? When the lady who lost her kids was mellowing and crying on the sofa.
Crystal is the name, yes.
When Crystal was just falling apart on the sofa, and the neighbor said, you have to take a bit of responsibility. You have to take responsibility in the situation. No matter and how much is dependent on you. And when I was watching that, I was thinking, this woman is just like me. Like, I'm the type. So if I would do it like a few weeks after you've lost, like when you're mourning, I don't know if I would do that, right?
But you would wanna do it.
I'm definitely the type to say, I mean, come on, this man has been abusive for 8 years. Like at the end of the day, something's got to give. Something was going to happen, because in those situations, something always happens. And for me, I thought when Crystal's husband said to her, will you marry me? And she said, no, right? And then he said, so are these my kids or something like that? And she was like, oh, I was like, woman, like, aren't you gonna lie and say, yes, they're definitely your kids? Because that didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, because you know how it's about to go.
Yeah, so I was like, aren't you gonna like lie and say maybe kids? And you just like, no. In a time like that, you just like, no. For me, that was, I don't know, that was weird.
I know.
So
I know in the, I don't know if it's like a monologue or whatever at the end when they all said something.
Yes.
She said that she was a ghost of a woman and she wanted to jump out of herself. So in my mind, I was thinking of like, I don't know if you guys have seen Get Out, where it's almost like he's in that place. I don't remember what it was, the sunken place, whatever. And it's like it's almost like she's having an out-of-body experience every single day, even though she is there and she's seeing this and this man is doing all of this to her. I don't know if it's, maybe there are, documentaries that get into like what happens to your brain and how you process things when you have been in an abusive relationship for a long time. But I think there was just this like lack of, okay, at the very least, let me get my kids and get out of this place. Like the rest will figure out, even if I go to my neighbor, like she can just lock the door and then that's it. Or let me just go to work one day with my kids and then we're not coming back. Like, give me something. But I guess, I don't know. I think, yeah, it just goes back to what she said, that she was like so numb to what was going on because she, I guess, was just like wanting to be a good partner, and maybe there was part of her that felt bad for this man because of the things he's going through. And unfortunately, women, you're a lot of the time, I guess that's kind of what we're taught is our role. It's like, you be supportive and be understanding. And I mean, this person's going through so much and they've done so much for you. So, you know, at least be there. And well, for me, I was partly like, I understand maybe how she's justifying staying in the situation.
Yeah.
But I was like, the babies, what about the kids? The kids, come on, girl. Like I've seen the movie before and I was still like, no, she's gonna just grab her kids and go. Like, yeah, everything's gonna be fine. No, she's just gonna take them and disappear. So yeah, I think what happens when you are in an abusive situation, just it almost feels like life is just happening to you.
Exactly.
Until your children are on the pavement.
Yeah.
I agree. And I definitely hear where Kgosi is coming from, you know, in terms of ability. Yes, it is definitely very important to, you know, not mollycoddle certain situations and allow people to actually access the parts of themselves that allow themselves to hold themselves to a standard to say, you know what, I should have been better, I should have done better, I could have, you know, and process guilt from that point of view, because I think guilt can be a very important tool in ensuring that a person becomes better instead of shaming a person. But then there's also the side of the coin where I think in order for abuse to be an effective tactic in the way that it is, I think it first has to break the mind of a person, because once you access to the mind, I don't have to tie you up, I don't have to chain you up, there's no need for that, you know. In order to get a person, to subjugate a person in some sort of way, there has to be that element. And I think because there's not much also, we don't get a better picture of how their relationship evolved also, and we just meet it where it was.
Yeah.
It's difficult to understand how they got to that point and how she got to that point, because I don't necessarily believe she entered the relationship as subservient, you know, broken or silent or mute woman. I think it evolves with every relationship. People don't just enter and become those people, because relationships also do have the power to morph you into certain, you know, people in order to accommodate for the next person. In the same way, you know, your right lung, is it your right lung, is smaller than your left lung in order to accommodate for your heart. When you breathe, you also have to accommodate for the next person, or else it just doesn't work. And of course, somewhere, somehow, you know, people do lose themselves. So I also do see where she's coming, where she could be coming from, because we don't see that too.
Yeah.
Let's do a character assassination. Oh, wait, a character assassination. The neighbor. What do you guys think the neighbor was necessary in the movie? I'm asking this because, right, there's a movie scene where Crystal has decided she's taking a life, because you know that the actual play is for colored girls who have reached the end of who have considered suicide
when the rainbow is enough.
Yes. So Crystal is in the hospital. She's drinking pills, then they're trying to pump her stomach. And at the hospital, the neighbor is there. But we also have Zoe Saldana's character with her sister. And we also have the social worker there. For me, I was like, okay, what is Zoe's character doing there? Because up till that point, I haven't seen them in a scene where they are talking to each other. So I don't understand how is she at the hospital? Do they speak? Do they know each other? And so I do feel that some interactions in the movie were not natural, right? I feel like the social worker was too involved. At some point, she was feeding Crystal, and I was like, and the nurse is supposed to do that. start with the neighbor. Do you guys feel like the neighbor was necessary? Was she adding to the story? Because I don't really know what her story was. She was just like I, I would say even not even a secondary character, like a tertiary character. Like we don't know where she's from, what are her intentions. She's not a well-developed character.
I definitely think her character was necessary because she acts as an anchor. I think if we take it back to like the traditional settings where you grew up, like where community was still a thing, you know, where people were still bringing each other samp next door, where your neighbor was an extended part of your family, where you could still trust your neighbor with your kids. And a lot of your situation was made or alleviated by your neighbor. I think I'll go back to the scene where after he's dropped the kids, now, or well, before that, where she could hear something was happening and she went down banging from door to door saying, somebody help her, help her. I definitely do also want to like pull to say it could make sense why Crystal would also feel safe in the situation that she did with that partner, because you have such a strong sense of community that I'm safe, even though I'm not safe within my relationship, I'm safe within the building, you know, and taking on to, while expanding on to seeing how much the neighbor also would show up also. I think she was a necessary character because I don't see how it would have evolved without her being there also.
You know me, let me say this sort of thing and then I'll let you speak. I think for me the most, can I say, daunting or scariest part was when that banging was happening and she had to distract the kids by telling a story.
Oh yeah. Oh.
I was like, wow.
Yeah. Yo.
And maybe that's what you wanted at the hand for in that part where you said she should have said yes, because the same way she was quick to think about, you know, to try to calm the kids down and whatever, she should have just answered the question like, yeah, they're kids, man. What do you mean, you know?
What was saying?
Well, I think her in the, I guess, the movie as a whole, maybe I guess her character it was just kind of there. At least that's how I saw it. But when I'm, I guess, thinking about the role that that kind of woman would play in a real community, I think, you know, that there is that person or those people, those, I think, kind of mother figures outside of the home who are always there and who you know, she could clearly see that this person, like, I don't know, you clearly want yourself or your kids to live in a body bag before you realize that something must happen. So I think she just, I guess, was going the tough love kind of route where it's like, I can't tell you anything you don't know about the situation because you see your situation. The best I can do is try and protect these kids, and call the social worker. And if you come to me and you need help, I will happily do that. But you clearly want to keep being in this situation, so there's only so much I can do. So I guess she was being motherly in that she was like, she was being a mother to like an adult child essentially, where it's like, you can make your decisions and you have agency and free will. There's nothing that I can do for you in this situation beyond the things that you can do for yourself. So I think she did what she needed to do. Do I wish there was a little bit more to the character? Yes, because I think they were just wasting Felicia Rashad.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Kgosi, that what I picked up is also that in the original, I guess it was like I guess they call it a choreographical poem kind of thing, is that there were actually 7 women, and Tyler decided to bring 3 more women, and there was no black, and the neighbor is the black. lady in black. So maybe you picked up on that already. Maybe Tyler was just trying to, I don't know, bring in another character of another color, but because this is like an adapted film and stuff, it also does like you can make a one-to-one comparison, be like, yeah, this character is not fitting into what I guess the original written work was all about. So that's something that I picked up, that like, okay, there was no pink, there was no black, there's another color that was not even there. So that was like the only thing I was like, okay, I can understand why. So you trying to force feed them into the whole thing that's playing out. But completely agree with Uroro-san. I think we go through life and pick up parental figures, motherly figures, father figures, be it the security guard, the cleaner, whoever. So they end up having, they do feel the responsibility of being the parent, and they advise us, or when they see things, they call us into order. But then again, she did what she had to do. At the end of the day, Crystal had to make the decision.
Oh, okay. I'm playing around the ChatGPT now, and I didn't know what you just raised in Bali. So there was a red, a lady in yellow, a lady in brown, lady in purple, lady in green, blue, lady in orange.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's no black, there's no pink. I'm missing one color. I can't remember now what the other color is.
Okay.
White. Yeah, there's no black, white. So white, black, and pink is not there in the original written work. Yeah. So maybe those characters, if we were to analyze those characters, we would see how they were squeezed in.
Yeah.
Lady in Blue. I feel like Lady in Blue, who was Kerry Washington, I feel like she was squeezed in as well. Because I was like, okay, girl, I see you, you like they're trying to make you the thread that's pulling
everybody together. Yeah.
But in you being that, we are not getting your story. So you're trying to have a baby and it didn't work, and you had an STD, but like no story was developed, I think that's the other character that I was like, you don't really have a story.
There, I'll agree. And I had no qualms there. I'll agree.
I have nothing to say. Beautiful.
You don't have a problem with Lady. I think you could have cut Lady in Blue to save the budget, because
you already bought 3 other women. There was no need.
And the 3 they bought was not just anyone. Like, hello, Kerry Washington. They threw a bag on Kerry Washington alone.
It was handled before it started.
So Lady in Red, guys, and I think, Bali, I like that you brought this up, because I didn't know about these colors, right? Because now when I'm talking about Lady in Red, I'm remembering Janet Jackson was always in red lipstick, red clothes. And then ultimately she contracted HIV, and the colors for HIV, like red, through her husband, right? Sure, about this character. Does she have a backstory? I don't know. I think her story was centered on her husband giving her HIV. I don't know if she had much of a story there.
To me, it seemed like she was maybe I guess now I'm making a story based on what I saw. Like the
go ahead.
Was unclear, but she is this successful woman who is with this guy who he seemed kind of bummy. He was not a very good or honest partner outside of the HIV, just in general. Like, you're disappearing and then you're coming back, and then you're upset that I'm upset that you've just disappeared and you're not picking up the phone. Excuse me, sir. What? So I think it may be at least how I saw it is that's kind of the reality a lot of women face sometimes when trying to choose a partner. It's like, I'd rather have someone at least to say, I have a husband who is attractive, than to be this successful woman who doesn't have it all because that's the one thing she lacks. Ultimately, that just did her so dirty, because Mans is taking $200,000 out of her account and saying, I'm a man. That's how it works. And then and then flipping it on her like she's the issue because she's not letting him be a man, and making her feel bad for like being concerned about her husband's whereabouts and about finances. Her finances, it's her money, first of all. But finances in general. So yeah, I think it was really maybe just touching on that, how sometimes people give so much of themselves and they are like in this relationship where they're not happy. They don't really want to be there, but they're just there to not be that career woman who is like bitter and old and lonely and single and stuff.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask, as you're speaking, Mary, that are you part of the book club? Because as you're speaking, I was getting hints of the last book we read, where it's like, anything that with 2 feet, 2 feet, rather, anything with 2 feet can be a husband. It's like, whatever it is, like, bring it in whatever shape or form. As if he's a man.
But this guy wasn't just any man. Wasn't he an investment banker?
Yeah.
Wasn't he a Forex bro? That's what I got.
You got Forex bro vibes, like the ultimate red flag, hot board.
Yeah, only because
in the global financial crisis, yes, because this was 2010. So
he took $200,000 from her. So I thought that he's like he is an investment banker, but he kind of like does his own Forex trading on the side, or maybe he once was a banker, but now is doing his stuff on the side. Because I was also thinking, how does he have so much time to be canoodling in the streets to the point where the cops are called on your suspicious vehicle? Clearly he has a lot of time on his hands. So Forex bro.
But he is a man who enjoys sleeping with another man without emotional ties.
He's gay.
And he is not being bent.
Bending.
He's not doing that.
Guys, Lady in Orange, Tandy Newton as Tangy. I feel like for me, there was a character that had a lot going on for her. She probably took up a lot of the storyline, right? There was a lot of, and I think there could have been a little bit more that was brought onto her. And I think if there's somebody that would have had an arc for healing, it would have been her. And would have been very nice to see what her life would have been like after she stopped, bringing all of these men into her. Her mother said, you're letting all of these men crawl up inside you. And I was like, yo.
But she ate, because yeah.
I was like, yeah, wow. Like, she ain't lying, but do you have to put it like that, right?
I like how you're having a bit of grace now, because I thought you would want to say that. I thought.
I mean, I don't think I'm beyond saying that. Maybe like me 5 years ago would say something like that. But I think with age comes a more tactful way of saying things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lady in Yellow, Tessa Thompson, who was Nyla. The young daughter. They made us believe that she's 16, who fell pregnant and had a back alley abortion at the hands of Macy Gray.
Macy Gray. Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think the story, and then Bali, you watch the play, so I don't know if the story comes to light in the play, but
No, no, I don't think it does. I think in the play there's a lot of centering, I guess, the abuse, more like the Crystal and the guy story.
yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't convinced by his story with the back alley abortion, and no, I just feel like that's also somebody that could have been cut to save the budget. You know,
Are we killing anyone at this point, Asahang? Because how many have we removed?
They needed to give a young actress a chance.
yeah, I do feel like the character in itself was wasted on the actor Tessa Thompson.
The actor.
There isn't a lot of range there and not much happens, you know. So I think, yes, you're right. It could have been a great stepping stone for a younger actress. Because I also feel like the story between her and her sister and her mother, yes, it was touched on, but I wish that, you know, especially her and her sister, that I wish could have been explained more, because I feel, Bali, and maybe you would connect to this, as a bigger sister who's been through that, you would want to protect your little sister if at all, you know, you wouldn't despise. But I also do get where it's coming from.
Giving my sister the serial killer, you're treating me. Am I supposed to be?
You protect the mother differently, and so the older one had like resentment towards the mother and to the younger sister as well. So I think that's where it stems from. Lady in Green, played by Loretta Devine. Somebody took all my stuff. Oh, I just love Loretta Devine. Ah,
Let's see.
I love her, so I have nothing to no notes.
Yeah,
10 out of 10.
What was that? And then the boyfriend came home, you know, after he's disappeared, and she's like, go, go, go. And then the boyfriend starts touching her, and she like softens up, and she's like, oh, do you have a condom? And I'm like, man. like I enjoyed her character. I think that was superbly done. I enjoyed her monologues and her little poems. It's just a pleasure to watch her. And I like that you can see her picture and immediately hear her voice.
Yeah.
I think.
You can go, Rose.
Oh, okay. I really liked her character because it was like she's not perfect by any means, because she keeps folding to this bummy man. And he's a bum. But you know, it's like she's trying, and I can get behind that. And also I think she was self-aware. I think maybe part of it was like, you know, I really want love and affection in some way, so I guess I will sacrifice peace in my personal life in order to get a little bit of love and affection. And then the other kinds of, you know, satisfaction and feeling like I'm doing something good, I get that from my career and the other women I'm around. So I was like, you know what? This is a very balanced human being, because let's be honest, it'd be like that sometimes.
You know, I was looking at her and I was like, you know what? I hear her chat like, you know, this guy is not right for you. But if we're looking at things, Haridi Bala, you know, you're a woman in your mid-50s, this guy, you also want some loving and attention, and, you know, you're hoping that he changes, and sometimes he chooses you, he comes home and he has groceries, and you're like, yay. Sometimes he's disappeared and he's taking his clothes. But yeah, I feel like her, for me, was that one character that was well developed. She had a storyline. She had a resolution, Sean. She had a book, you know, Chipiwa.
Yeah.
She said, I'm done with this man. He keeps taking my stuff, and this man ain't shit, so I'm out. And I absolutely loved how she was just so sure of herself, and she was like, I'm helping my ladies. I feel like she was an anchor in the storyline.
I definitely also agree there. Like she was a well-balanced human being. What stood out is it showed her that is the human experience. You can't have it all, and it's okay. It's well balanced as long as you're giving as much as well, you're giving more than you take. You can go to bed at night and still feel like, you know what, it's good, and have no shame and reservations around your situation, because it's balanced. Yeah, no qualms there.
I liked her. And Lady in Purple, shame. Lady in Purple was Yasmin Anika Noni Rose, who was the dance teacher.
Oh.
The clock.
Yeah, the clock. Yeah, man. Yeah, no. That hard.
I will. I think her story triggered me because in my unfortunate history in being with men, I've experienced that kind of man. I haven't experienced what she went through, but this, the nice guy who is actually extremely coercive and is like making you feel like, am I going mad? Like, did I do something or say something to make you think this? And they're taking advantage of the fact that you're just a good, like, pure light person who just lets people in, and just like, you know what, yeah, this is for me. Like, even how when he went into the apartment, immediately him, immediately the clothes are coming off. I said, Jesus, what is going on? But honestly, I think that some of the issues around abuse in South Africa kind of come from men seeing women like that. Like, you're not even seeing a person, you're not interacting with a person. This is like just a body that I can do whatever with and is mine to take as I please. So I think that story was really heartbreaking. I don't know, beyond what happened to her, there wasn't much else. Like, I think aside from he died, thank God. And she slapped the dead body. I was like, real, yeah. But beyond that, I was like, I don't know. Well, maybe the movie was trying to show that there isn't, I guess this is kind of the best resolution you get, that this person got stabbed by one of their victims. And then everything else is, I guess she's gonna have to like heal through this thing. But I don't know, the character just kind of, that happened, and then she went to the doctor or to the hospital afterwards, and then she was just gone, and then he died. And then she slapped him, and then, so I don't know, was it like, slap him, woo, I'm healed now? Or was it just like, okay, I can like have a little more peace knowing that this guy's burning in hell?
I think making sure he's dead.
Sometimes that's all the resolution you're going to get. Sometimes, like, no amount of therapy or religion will help you piece together some trauma, and that's as good as it's going to get. I feel like there is no, like, I understand why that storyline couldn't have evolved, because I don't see how a person recovers with any amount of therapy, with any amount of prayer, with any amount of dancing. I don't think there could have been like, I don't feel like there would have been there's no evolution there. Yeah, some things just happen, and they happen to the best people.
Yeah,
and you just, yeah, no, yeah. I think it's all that character, the dude really like made me look into myself. I think you have to, it made me become very careful around the idea of being a nice guy. because of how that's also perceived. I'd rather be a real person, because now I'd rather operate from a place where where I think I'm a bad person, which makes me more aware of my capacity to hurt and more mindful, as opposed to a good guy who feels like you're just, I don't know. It was a mess. That was a mess.
Wait, Chifiwa, is this something like the change of stance of Bob being a good guy, or what's the alternative?
No. I think it definitely, because I watched that movie from a very young age, it solidified something in me. My fear of good people. I think like it 100%. 100%.
Please don't allow society. We need good guys. We need good men. The country is in need of
fear
good
of
people.
a person who thinks they're a good person, because inherently in every religion we are told and we're bred to believe we as human beings we have a predisposition
Inherently good.
to be bad. So there's so many themes and so many things and demons a person has to go through before they think they're a good person. And I believe the moment you think you're a good person is the moment you drop the ball, the moment you stop being mindful and becoming aware of other people and realities that aren't yours, and the moment you feel like life owes you things and entitled so many different things. So it just created this fear around people who you perceive to be good or charismatic or nice, because they'll never be that.
I was so disappointed at that man because he built up so nicely, right? He was doing the right things, like he was better a woman. And I was also disappointed by that man because at Girlfriends, he was like the perfect boyfriend, husband.
Exactly.
Watching Girlfriends growing up, I was like, Danielle wouldn't be so bad. Maya is the problem. So I carried that into the movie, and I'm like,
oh no,
like
that
same.
horrible, And I also, before we wrap up the character analysis, I think the only good guy in this movie, or let me not say good, but the only guy who didn't any display traits of badness is the social worker's husband. But again, we didn't get a story from him, and I just wonder what it would have looked like to have a positive story about a guy in that movie, because everybody else was like a different representation of a bad black man.
Yeah.
Well, I cut you off.
No, I didn't. Well, I guess now that I'm talking, I may as well. I think that was one thing I wish they touched on a little bit more, like the good men, because obviously good men exist. I mean, maybe unfortunately there are more negative kind of stories and depictions of men and men in relationships, black men in relationships specifically. So it would have been really nice to kind of see the kind of man he is, because it seems like he would just, I mean, the thing in the when they went to the doctor, and in my mind I was kind of like clenching, like, yo, he's about to lose his mind. And then when she was like, no, it's fine, you can tell me, the doctor can speak freely, so I was like, oh, okay, he's a good guy. And the fact that I think she felt a lot of guilt that she couldn't have kids, and he was like, you are all I need, like you're my woman. And I was like, oh, as a yearner and a romantic, I was like, I just wanted to see more of that. I think maybe it would also kind of offset the heaviness of the movie, but at the same time, maybe it wouldn't fit, because I guess the movie kind of was just everyone is going through the most, and then they come together to realize, there is something we all kind of share similar experiences, and maybe that was the point. Except Carrie, she was like, well, I can't relate, y'all be easy, I don't know. Which, I mean, it be like that sometimes, because some people also genuinely are just like, they're in happy,
Yeah.
healthy relationships. Life is not perfect. There are things that they want that they can't have, but you know they got a good man, they've got a job they love, their man loves the job, and the man is good at his job. Clearly, I mean, he arrested someone. He managed to, this guy was stabbed, and he was the one who was like, here's this guy, is that the victim? So he was doing his job. And maybe that they just wanted to show that, hey guys, by the way, somewhere there's a good man.
There's light.
Good man, Savannah.
There
He
is
was-
light.
we just didn't see enough of him. So I think for me, just stepping away from the characters and the actual flow of the movie and like I don't like musicals, guys. So I don't like musicals because somebody will be saying something and then boom, they're singing and dancing. This is why I don't watch that Bollywood.
What
Guys,
the hell?
the only musicals I think I've enjoyed were Cabaret and Chicago and Sing. Everything else, like how High School Musical, Jiki Jiki, singing and dancing. And then, can I borrow a pen? And then there's a
That's
song.
the point. That's the point.
Live a little, man.
Singing in movies. I don't like live singing performances in movies. I'm just like, no. So I was listening to a podcast episode about this movie, and somebody said it was startling for them how the monologues just came out of nowhere, right? Like there wasn't a build up. And I was like, oh yes, like actually the only monologue that I was like, okay, sharp. I believe this. I'm connecting with was when somebody took my stuff. But
Oh
everything
yes, somebody too much. Yeah.
I just felt like we were having a conversation and then boom, a monologue. And I know that Tyler Perry loves monologues, but those were not, man, they were not executed properly. And I think that did have an impact on the watching pleasure of the movie, because then it stops being a normal movie where we're having a back and forth to a more, I think, artistic representation. And Bali, you said they called it a choral poem or something.
Yeah, they call it like a choreographical. I think it's a combination of the word choreography and poem.
You see, now I feel like I missed out on something because I didn't watch the actual play. I haven't watched the actual play. I would love to watch it.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts, guys?
Same. I was lost. And I thought, am I on TikTok too much? Like, is my attention span in the dust? Because I was really trying to like be locked in when they were going on these tangents. And I was like, most of the time, like, it's so random. Like, we're talking, then jiggy jiggy, hey, looking out into the distance, blurred background. So for me, yeah, that kind of did, I think it impacted maybe the flow, because there was no like there was no, I guess, build up to something and then resolution. It was kind of all over the place. But also maybe that's also because there were many different stories that they were kind of trying to weave together, and maybe the monologues was how they were sort of trying to make things flow. But hey, Tyler, my guy.
I didn't hate them, guys. I like them. I like the monologues. I feel like they were giving, when you're just wondering with your own thoughts. Like like you're here now, but then you're wondering with your own thoughts and things that's just happening in your mind. And I feel like it was giving that. And maybe we were just getting a piece of, I guess, kind of what they're thinking, but not really. So I took it as that. I took it as a it happens abruptly, because I think that's what wandering is about. Like, you're just sitting here, just minding your own business, you're at work, and then just a thought comes, and now things are playing out in your mind, and you're having a conversation with yourself, and it doesn't make sense. And then you come back to reality. And then you remind yourself, like, no, I'm here. So I actually kind of did like them. I don't know why, but I just quite enjoyed it felt to me like getting a piece of what's happening. Like, what are they processing about whatever is happening?
Okay, I hear that, Mbali, and that makes sense to me, because what you're saying right now, it's taking me back to Nyla's, when she was in the hospital room, her mother found her, and the mother's like trying to get her to speak and like communicate what happened. And then she just goes off on a tangent about broken, shattered bones and blood and what and what and what. And to your point, Rosang, I was really trying to follow what she was saying, but I was like, I was lost.
Blank. Nothing.
Like
it had nothing to do with what just happened. It was just she was having random thoughts.
I think
there's blood, there's bones.
I think maybe in like as I was watching it, it felt kind of more like how this would go if it was on a stage, like it was a theater show.
Okay.
So I think maybe what was happening is, since it was like a choreo poem, I assume that the original artist like performed it, right? And maybe now Tyler Perry taking from the source material to like a movie script, that becomes kind of challenging. And maybe it also speaks to why musicals are not always loved, is because how are you turning this thing that happens on stage, where sometimes the music and the dialogue kind of flow, to like a movie where it's like, okay, a pen jiggy jiggy, we're singing. So I think it was what Atlang said, that it's like a similar kind of thing going on, where everyone's minding their business and talking, and then Whoopi's looking into the distance, and it's like this person is having like a staff meeting with themselves, but like you're in the people. So I don't know. I guess they were trying to show, like, maybe like Vali said, how we are processing things as they're happening, but also like it's a movie, and in real life, like that is not. I don't know. It didn't translate. Yeah.
I can hear why you think it didn't translate well, because it wasn't giving, how when somebody in the movies, when somebody's like daydreaming or something, maybe there's like a transition of like going elsewhere with a different time, or looking different, or the color changes. So I mean, I know they tried something with the blurring of the background and stuff, but and also, is it because of where we watched it, guys? I don't know if you watched HD quality, but also maybe that had an influence.
Right, guys. Okay.
I watched 360p, so
I was watching YouTube, but the quality wasn't as great, so maybe we should take that into consideration.
Fair.
I liked. I think the one thing that, apart from somebody walked away with all my stuff, was you can keep your sorries. I've had enough sorries.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, that was like that one I believed as well.
Yeah. She said, one line stuck out to me. She said, "Let sorry soothe your soul, and I'll soothe mine." I said, "Yes, girl. Yes, amen, exactly." Because it sucks that she came to that so late, because it seems like they'd been married for some time. But there's nothing I love more than a woman realizing that You know
Mm-mm.
what?
Yeah.
Niggas. Ay,
Ain't shit.
niggas ain't shit. They ain't nothing. So finally, let me free myself and be
Yeah.
like, you know what? I need to take care of myself. You can keep your sorry. Thanks.
Yeah. One of my favorite lines was with Tandy. She went. I'm just looking at it now. You can't love somebody with that much hurt in them. I'm learning that more and more.
Mm,
I was like, hey, yeah, but that's the thing. We just never know how much hurt people have in them when we meet them. But you sometimes can't love people out of whatever they have, like whatever they're going through. You can pour as much as you want onto them, but yeah, if they're going through it, the love can't fix them. I think what Chifiwa said, like sometimes it's just like it goes beyond, even religion, like therapy and stuff. Like you're going through it, like you're so hurt. I don't know, it takes like super what natural power to just get you not fixed per se, the word fixed, but yeah, to just get you in a different state that is not hurt.
mm,
For me, another one was Lady in Green when she was knocking on that guy's door and she said, "This note is attached to a plant. I've been watering since the day I met you." And
Sure.
then she says, "You must water it your damn self." I think for me, it was more than that, right? It really
Yeah.
showed how much she invested into whatever they had to say, "I've been watering this plant since I met you." I think the intention and the action of watering something from day one is saying, "I am really investing in this." And
Mm,
you can see that, hi, you are the only one watering it. You're not,
yeah.
it's one-sided.
You're
I
not
think
alone here.
that scene, you know,
Maybe you know what? Now that Chifura said he's a gardener, I think that's a good idea actually to like start taking care of a plant or something when you start dating somebody and see if you can even because you know how plants can actually sense energy, can
Yeah.
sense things. If this plant is dying, you must I don't know, evaluate what's happening in that relationship.
Not too loud now. I have a few casualties.
And then when you no longer can take care of it, you just give off to the other person.
Yeah, no,
It's like I tried my best. I don't think it's working.
yeah, no. Like one of the lines that stood out for me was when Joe was like,
Mm.
I do not love, well, I don't do love, I do business, I do success. Love is for people who don't have their eyes on the prize.
Yay.
I think it was such a painful line also because in that moment you realize that she rejects intimacy. And not
Mm.
because, that those are her values, but she's conditioned herself to
mm,
adapt in order to thrive in her situation because yeah, no, with a man like that, yeah, no, you have to focus on yourself and pour into your own cup because I'd rather cry in a Range Rover than to cry also with other tears because of other problems also. So yeah, no, that's me.
it wasn't just that man, right? Because when she started her speech, she said, "With the last one, I had to hire private investigators, but with you, I didn't." And she just, so she knew, cause, and then she went on to say, "I've seen how you look at my driver. I've seen how you look at somebody." So I think to her, it was just like, you know what? Again, it is what it is. Here is Indota. Ah, I've got him. He might stay a little, but I don't think she thought it would get to a point where it would impact her health.
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah. 100%.
mm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hey,
I think well, the last poem for me, it's called Latent Rapists. And I was watching the scene and I was hearing what the character was saying, Anika Rose, right? Anika Noli Rose. But the two scenes, what she was saying in the scene, for me in my head were not connecting, because I know she was making a commentary on what it's like for a sexual assault victim to go report and but it just felt like, again, she just randomly started blurting out a monologue when she was in hospital, because there wasn't even an interaction from the policeman to say what happened, when she was like, and then even in our own homes, you invite somebody in in your own home, and then they do this to you. And I was like, oh wow, this is intense.
Yeah.
And
She said there was some way, I couldn't get exactly what she said, but it was like we relinquish all personal rights in the presence of men, especially when they're considered your friends. I was like, yo. And it's just speaking to that like you invite people into this man into your home, they're in your church, they are a leader in church, it's the man who might be helping you at a till, who you're nice to one day, it's someone who you're, I don't know, helping with something, and there are men who will, it's almost you living your normal life and just doing what you think is normal day-to-day activities is somehow like inviting this man to violate you in this way. I was just, that really got me. And I mean, it also kind of does speak to the general statistics that most victims of intimate partner violence or domestic violence in general, like it will be someone most of the time.
yeah.
So that was unfortunate. It actually made me very sad and angry, because in your home is your safe space. I mean, she was cooking food, the microwave was on, your home, and now all these sounds and smells that you associate with being at home and being in the safe space are now, and your clock changing time is now going to remind you of this disgusting, despicable man and what he has done to you. Oh,
I think of it like that, but yes, you need to come home, and yeah, yeah. I don't think of it like that. See, this is why I like having these discussions.
I actually have one more one. It's not wait, I just need to find it now. It's about so Tangi says it, like being alive and being a woman is all I've got. But being colored is a metaphysical dilemma I haven't conquered yet. I was like, hey,
bars.
I was like, right. Because I kind of know I'm alive and I'm a woman, but being a black woman, that's something else that hits me differently when I find myself in certain spaces where I'm like, no, man, I'm a black woman. It's different. It's not the same. And yeah, I don't know. It always hits me in the weirdest spaces. That realization that no, I don't just come as Umbali, as those, we like to think ourselves outside of, our race, our gender, our sexuality. But unfortunately, you actually bring all of that with you everywhere you go.
Yeah.
You literally do take it with you everywhere you go. And as much as you can walk into a space and be like, I am this, other people are already seeing this, the part of you, and already, moving with those, I don't know, I don't want to know what to call them, but yeah, it blows my mind every time where I'm just like, hey, Mali, you're a black woman. So there's some calculations that have already been made here to do with your womanhood. That is not just womanhood, but black womanhood. Yeah, I haven't even conquered that myself. I'm still navigating. What does it really mean for me to be a black woman in this world?
That is so, Mbali, you've touched on something. We've got about 6 minutes left, so in these last minutes, what do you guys take away from this movie? Uh, yeah, what do you guys take away from this movie? Has your perspective changed? Did you learn something new from our discussion? Me, I think people are going through a lot, and I'm very happy that this movie was selected during Women's Month in South Africa because, again, the themes in 2010 that were in America for Black women, they haven't changed much for women in 2025 in South Africa. So, yeah, as much as people say this isn't a bad Tyler Perry movie, I think the reality is again shown on screen for everybody to see. So I take that away with me today, and I really liked you guys' different perspectives, and I liked the character analysis that we did. It just brings more insight when you're thinking about a character that this is maybe this is why, maybe this is why, you know. So I don't think my rating changes. I really enjoyed this movie. Yeah, I actually want to go back and like just watch the monologues and just dissect the
Please find
monologues.
a better quality, whatever, for us to.
Once the monologue, because I think when I was listening to them, I was like, whoever wrote these monologues, who are they? What else have they written? Because this is amazing. You know, when I was listening, I've had enough stories. I was like, I want more. This is the type of writing I want to be reading. So yeah. You Kgosi, you're up now.
My takeaways. What are my takeaways? People are going through it. Women are going through it. Men, I think, yes. I don't know if it was a takeaway, but a thing that I'm thinking about a lot now is, the ways in which women are active, like participants in patriarchy and the ills of society. Unfortunately, yes, men kind of set the system up, but there are women in society that are actively upholding this through doing or not doing certain things. So that was one. I'd say a takeaway for me, and I guess maybe sort of a theme now that I'm thinking of it, is how shame ultimately just leads to so much like destruction internally, destruction emotionally. It can literally manifest on the outside, but it kind of shame and guilt guided a lot of how these women made decisions and the way they were moving and navigating society and the people they were choosing to be. And I think it's important to kind of, deal with the inner conflicts we have with ourselves so that we're not making decisions from a place of shame, because you will end up hurting yourself and hurting the people around you. Yeah, I'd say that. Otherwise, no notes. I loved the cast. I love women. So I was like, yeah, I love all of these women. They're all amazing, excellent. I hate that they were going through it. Like, I so wish it was more light, fun vibes, especially given the cast, or just not as traumatic. Because in my mind, I'm like, this is Janet Jackson, and this is happening to Janet Jackson. Like, how dare you? But yes, otherwise, my rating, I'd say it actually goes down to a 7 now, just because of the whole random monologue thing. I think it bothered me more than I thought.
Thanks. Chifiwa.
Yeah, no, I definitely also, my rating does go down just a bit to
No.
7.5. I think there it would have been nice to see more joy. I think it's I realize why I appreciated the monologue so much and the breaks, because it was such an emotionally charged movie, and the smallanyana random breaks really do help you catch a break and just breathe, So I definitely do think it would have been nice to have a little bit more color. Well, not in that sense, but just more joy to help smoothen and make the themes more palatable, because I think it is a very important movie in the messages, the different themes that it portrays, and the different conversations that need to be had. Hence, me saying it's still very relevant. And yeah, no, I, I think it just preaches and further emphasizes the need to be a good human being. Like, just be a good human being, because people are just going through it, and you do not know if, yeah, today you could be someone's 13th reason just because. So, yeah, no, that's me.
Yeah.
Mbali?
I'll keep my rating. Actually, I appreciated this discussion. I'm gonna go finish the rest of the movie just to pick up the things that you spoke about. I wanted to speak on the uncomfortability that comes with reading these stories about Black women and suffering. It actually made me think of a quote, and I couldn't remember who said it, but I knew about it. You know how there's a quote that says, "We are not free until we are all free." It's actually a Maya Angelou quote, but it was coined by Martin Luther King. He phrased it quite differently, but Maya Angelou speaks about that. And I feel like because some of us find ourselves in the spaces where we're a bit more privileged, and I think we're a bit more cushioned, it becomes a bit uncomfortable to have to read up about stories that constantly remind us that that is not the reality that everybody else faces. And I think it is good to know that that is not everybody's story. I mean, life is too layered for that to be everybody's stories. They probably people who are enjoying the economy right now, while the rest of us is just like, what's going on with the economy? So I do think, though, on Black women and their stories, I personally would hate to see a time where we don't write about these kind of stories enough to make them exist throughout generations, so that we don't, even if we become better societies, we become better women, we become better men, we must just always know to not go back to a time such as this. Yeah, I don't want a kumbaya thing. We have a kumbaya thing in South Africa. We all sing our land, but we don't have it. So I just don't want us to get there where it's very colorful, but right. So yeah, that's just on Black women and their stories and color. And Atlahang, this is based on the book, and this is something that I don't know if people miss that when they watch this, because I was reading some of the review. I'm like, this is actually based on somebody's body of work that is written, right? And I feel like Tyler Perry, of course, being who he is, and made this film, this movie, and I think the story became more famous through the movie. But I think the written work itself, I think that's what we need to hold on to. And if you can find the book, please find multiple copies. I would like to get one. It would be good. Huh?
It's a play.
It is a play, but there's an actual physical book.
Really?
Yes, where all these monologues are in.
I thought it was a film based on a play, which is based on a book of poetry or something, like a poetry.
Yeah, I think it's a body of work is poetry. I think the book that exists is a collection of those poems. That it probably would have been in any direction. It's probably like was the play at first, and then was created into a book. Then but somehow, somewhere in the trio, or however many directions, there is a book that exists with all these monologues or the poems.
Okay, I hear that.
Yeah, so I would actually like to have a copy. I've been meaning to try to source one, but yeah, we're in South Africa, so
yeah.
But yeah, it's been good. I'm keeping my rating, and yeah, this was a good one.
This was a good one, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I'll say this again, where 2 or 3 gather.
Uh-huh.
I'm happy we
We
had
shall have a discussion. Yes.
exactly when I thought people couldn't join, I was going to cancel the session. But thanks for raising your hand, saying you can join. We had a good discussion. I really enjoyed unpacking this movie. And in my head, I'm thinking, if we are going to talk about a light book or a light movie, are we actually going to have a deep discussion? I don't know. Because this is also, it comes up at book club that we are reading traumatic and African suffering books, but it's like, if we do read a light book, are we going to have a deep discussion? I don't know. Let's explore it. But
We'll say it's too fluffy. We'll say, there wasn't depth. You know?
Yeah. I don't know. Chifiwa, thank you guys for joining your first time. We're going to do this next month. We haven't decided on the movie yet. We haven't actually decided on a theme. We still need to decide. I'm open to suggestions. And then please subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is where the past discussions are kept, and also where there's like more content around movies and books and all of that. So please do. I'm trying to grow the YouTube community. But otherwise, guys, I really had an amazing discussion. I didn't know that, we could unpack this much on this specific movie, because I haven't watched it in a long time and I rewatched it today. So I enjoyed this so much. And yeah, guys, there's nothing more that from my side that I can say. Next month, we're reading Things Fall Apart, October, and then we still need to decide on the movie of the month. And I hope you guys are regulars. I hope we didn't scare you away.
Yeah, please do become regulars. Don't leave. It was a good discussion.
We will. All the other times I was just shy.
It's a good space. Come back.
Same.
Exposure therapy. So there's no way to be shyness in exposure therapy. It is what it is. It is what it is. But guys,
good evening, everybody.
You too.
Yes.
Bye then.
Bye.
Bye. That was our discussion on For Colored Girls, written by Ntozake Shange, but the movie was directed by Tyler Perry. We are going to be back here in September, discussing another movie we haven't selected. So if you would like to join the movie club, please let me know.